everyone. I hope you're having a good summer as it's starting to wind down. So I'll just tell you a little bit about my summer. So I actually have two internships right now. One is at the Greene County Family Visitation Center, which that is for if parents lose custody of their kids, then they can only see their kids in a supervised setting. I'm one of those people who's supervising these visits between parents and their kids. Then the other one is with Community Action Partnership, and it's with the class Getting Ahead. I'm helping to run this class, which is for people who are stuck in poverty, kind of stuck in the cycle of poverty, and it's to help teach them skills to break out of poverty. Now, both of these have been really informative for me because both of them have many people who I don't normally come into contact with. So it's just been great for me to see just the struggles that so many people go through and how I'm able to really help them out and to show them Christ through my actions. Now, my family also went on a mission trip with my parents' church down to Athens, Ohio, and it was with a program called Good Works down there. And Good Works is all about helping the people in the community, serving people by helping those who are unable to do the work around their homes, such as fixing their roof or fixing their deck, staining their deck, or something like that. So Good Works does this for the people, and they also have a big point of emphasis about building relationships with the person you're serving, so that it's not just you're doing the work and then ignoring the person who it's for. So now when I heard we were going to be doing this and that we were going to be going down there, I thought this is what I was going to be doing. I'm going to be doing a lot of physical work and just helping people out in that way. But on the first night, they told us about all the different jobs that people could be doing. And one of the things they mentioned was a kids camp that they run in the summer. So they talked about how they really wanted a guy to help out. And so I sat there and I waited to see if any of the other guys in the group would raise their hand to volunteer, but no one did. So I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'll do it. So I raised my hand, and so that's why I did all week. I helped out with little kids, with 7-year-olds, and man, was I really happy that I did. It was a great time, and I love to see the joy on those kids' faces as they just played with each other. And one thing that really stood out to me that I liked was that the kids, they didn't know the background of the other kids necessarily. They just played with each other because they're just kids, and that's what they do. They don't look at who the person is, whether they're going home to a really poor situation or a really well-off situation. So I really like to see that and to help out those kids. So now into the chapters this week. We did 29 through 31. And now 29 being about the consecration of the priests and stuff. I don't know what I should highlight about that chapter. But moving on to the chapter 30, something that I thought was interesting. So when it talked about the utensils and how the utensils were holy and that whoever would touch them would also become holy, which I thought that was interesting because normally in Jewish culture, if someone was unclean and they touched someone who was clean, so if the unclean person touched someone, that person would now be unclean as well, not the other way around. But Jesus one time, or a couple times I think, but that one example is when the woman who was bleeding continuously, when she reached out and touched him in the crowd, and she was healed by that. Now, that's interesting, yeah, because like I said, normally if someone touches something that's impure, unholy, unclean, or something like that, then they also become unclean. But in this situation and with Jesus, it worked the other way. So I think this is kind of foreshadowing to Christ in the future. Now, moving on to chapter 31, which is a short chapter, but it talked about the Sabbath, and the Sabbath being that God created the world in 6 days, and on the 7th day he rested, which that always kind of made me wonder a little bit, because if God is this all-powerful being, then why would he need to rest? And an explanation I heard, I forget where I heard it from or who I heard it from, but was that maybe God looking into the future and seeing us and that we would need time to rest, that we wouldn't be able to work nonstop every day, 24 hours a day. He set the precedent by taking that rest so that when we had an example to follow in doing that. And then also, I'm sure the Israelites, since they were just got out of slavery, when they were slaves, they didn't have time to take a break. They had to be working nonstop under the orders of their slave master. And so I'm sure it was very joyful for them to hear that, oh, you get to take a day of rest now. And yeah, so I think that was very good for them to hear. Now, then Jesus in the New Testament, he talks a lot about the Sabbath, but kind of in the other direction. And now he often did a lot of things, and he often did a lot of things on the Sabbath, which I don't think was an accident. I think he purposely did that for the sake of revealing the hypocrisy that these religious leaders at the time had. So like in Mark 2:27-28 says, "And he said to them," he being Jesus, "The Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. So the Son of Man is Lord even of the Sabbath." So I think that again is echoing the idea that that the Sabbath is for us to take a break and not kill ourselves being like workaholics. So now I hope everyone continues in these last few weeks of the study. I think Jordan said last week he said we had 5 weeks till move in, so 4 weeks now. So I hope that everyone who is going to NSC will have a good time. I will not be going though, unfortunately, but I went last year and it was a great time and it was really informative, and I wish I had the opportunity to go this year. And then just a reminder that we do have early move-in, which will be on August 17th, and that if you want to do that, you can just contact staff. So then you can help like the freshmen move in their stuff and just introduce yourself to the freshmen and be one of the first faces they see. So I hope everyone has a good rest of your summer, and I'll see you when we get back to school.